Time to bring in U.S. Army General Russel Honore. Good morning, General. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
So one of the things we saw yesterday was that one of the 9/11 family members was very critical of the elected politicians that were there in front of him. And he gave a strong message that said it should not take a national tragedy like what happened more than 2 decades ago to bring this country together. He said, you guys got to figure it out. I don't want to be up here giving another speech like this. So when you see that call for unity, my question to you is, have we had that unity? Is that real, or is that sort of a fantasy, the idea of American unity? Have we ever really been united?
Well, I think we've always been a nation under one flag, under one constitution, but have continued to struggle in this democracy for freedom and to maintain our democracy. But I share with the empathy the words of the survivors of this and their families. As the ceremonies continue annually, the pain stay with them every day. And I think we need to take wise counsel from them as a result of what the gentleman said, that we can do better in unity as a nation, because only in unity will this nation stand. It will not stand divided, as someone said centuries ago.
Well, I know that you've given a lifetime of service to this country, and we thank you for that service. I also read this morning that either you considered or someone considered you potentially for a Senate run in your native Louisiana. I wonder what you think of the role of elected politicians in unity, because it seems like what gets you elected these days is not unity.
Yes, the most flamboyant, outrageous statements about the opponents seem to catch the most time on social media and in the press. I've thought about political office a few times, and I take a nap and forget about it. I'm committed to the truth. I'm totally committed to the truth, and too many politicians are committed to the most popular one-liner of the day. I have to deal in the truth of reality of what the people need to defend our country, where many of them will sell their souls for donations and to win office. And my hat's off to those who can be successful in the political arena, but that is not my dance floor I want to be on. There's still a lot I want to do in my life, and being a politician is not one of them.
I think about it and then I take a nap and forget about it might be the one-liner of the day, despite what you just said. Well, how can we improve then? Because we seem to be stuck in a bit of a cycle, a feedback loop, whatever metaphor you'd like to use here. How do we improve our unity, and how do we get back to being together?
I think we need to celebrate what we agree on more as opposed to what we disagree about. Because when you come down to the margins, the majority of the people I know and participate with, from some of them are conservative and some of them are Democrats, they agree on more than they disagree on. We need to remember that the words we speak, our children are hearing. And the more decisive we make this moment, as though we hate each other because of one's political party, could cause irreparable harm to future generations. We need to celebrate what we agree on. And yesterday was one of those days that most people look with somewhat of a patriotic air on what happened and the significance and why it happened. And all that was done after 9/11 to make sure it never happened again, to include the invasion of Afghanistan, the formation of the Department of Homeland Security, and rearrangement of our government to ensure it never happened again. But we have more challenge because now we are faced with challenges from domestic terrorism. So that's the job of government. They wanted these jobs. They've got to figure out how they lead us through this. But we need to have a message of unity, but that's hard to achieve in the political season that we're in right now, going into the fall elections.
Well, in 21 years on from 9/11, you just mentioned domestic terrorism. Do you feel like we face a larger threat from inside than outside right now?
When saying that, I lightly quote what the government has said, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, who have recent months have issued statements in the public, not any separate intel reports I get. I don't get that anymore. That one of the biggest threats to our nation now is domestic terrorism, as was witnessed on 1/6, the attack on the Capitol.
Well, it is 21 years on, like I said. Do you still remember where you were? I think everybody does on 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11, like the death of President Kennedy, we all knew where we were when it happened and when it was announced. I was commanding the 2nd Infantry Division, about 18,000 troops on the demilitarized zone in Korea. The announcement came on the television and on AFN, and within 15 minutes, I alerted the division to occupy their weapons, alert the troops, get them with their weapons, standing by in local assembly areas in our camps in Korea. It was a very emotional. We never knew what was going to happen because they were a follow-on attacks. So we stayed in that posture for about a day until we got directions from the government and from our higher command on what was expected of us. But it was a very trying time with that many troops positioned overseas. Some of them, all the airplanes were locked down. Some were on leave, some were on the way back to Korea. It was a very confusing time in our nation and in the world.
Gosh, I think that a lot of us, I think I speak for a lot of us when I say we sort of put our hands on our heads like, oh no, what is happening right now? You couldn't do that. You were actually in a position to command troops at the time, and you had to do exactly that. Was it nerve-wracking for you, just wondering, are we about to be attacked? Are we about to be sent to attack someone else? It just must have been incredible.
Well, being inside a North Korean artillery range, we didn't know what was going to happen. So the best thing we could do is to do what we were there to do, and that is to be prepared to defend ourselves and defend the South Korean border. So that's what we did. That's the only thing we know to do, which was to occupy our weapons and get accountability of our troops.
That is U.S. Army General retired Russel Honore. Thank you very much for coming on early morning. We appreciate your perspective.
Never forget. God bless America.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.